You know what? That only took me 2 tries. Well, look, 2 tries. 2 tries to do that. What's up, everybody? How are you doing today? Hope you have your brooms handy, because I'm sorry, dad jokes. They're gonna happen a lot in this video. We're talking about sweep picking. We're gonna talk about what, in my opinion, was one of the hardest things about sweep picking. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I never had any exercises when I was trying to learn how to sweep pick. Not that I'm, some amazing sweep picker or anything like that, but when I was really trying to learn the technique, I didn't have it broken down for me the way that I'm getting ready to do it for you. And there was one particular area that gave me a lot of trouble. I'm gonna kind of like focus all on that today. And if you are having the opposite problem of what I'm doing, just play the exercises backwards. Ayo! Tabs and all that good stuff linked down below. And you can snag my free guitar course if you feel like it. It has absolutely zero to do with sweep picking, but it's still there. So the first one, what are we talking about? Now, both of these focus on the same exact technique that we're going to hone in on, but there's 2 very distinct different feels to what's happening. Now, the first exercise is walking us through a whole bunch of different chords. I'll call them out during the lesson if I remember. But basically, it's that up pick. We start with 1 down and 3 ups. And for a lot of people, I know through years of teaching, the up pick when you're playing guitar is the most difficult part, because down, your hand's kind of falling through the strings. That's always easier. But the up seems to be what gives people the most trouble. And like I said before, if this does give you, if you're kind of the opposite, maybe down is giving you difficult, up is fine, basically just flip this exercise around and you will have 3 downs and 1 up. So you can focus on your down picking if that's kind of your situation. But the majority of the time, the upstroke through the strings is giving people the issue. Now, the first issue to talk about that happens all the time, I saw this constantly, is the way your pick is. Now, of course, if you've seen Troy Grady, at the time when I was teaching, I didn't know what this stuff was called. But your pick, when you're going down, should be like this. Let me hold it right here. This, see how it's angled down? This is giving you less resistance. Now, when you are sweeping up, you kind of have to turn your wrist and get the pick slanted this way. That way, if this is a string, bam, you're hitting it, less resistance. So you can see how my wrist is not keeping the pick the same exact way. You don't have to be as drastic as I am. But that's a huge part of sweeping that some people do miss. Now, like with this one, like I said, I'm starting on this A major 7 chord. Let me turn this delay off real quick. So we're starting on an A major 7. And I go to 9 on the G, 11 on the G, and then, 13 on the G. So 9 on the G to 13 on the G, down, up. Then I go 11 on the D and 12 on the A. Okay? Now, the reason why I broke these into smaller sections like I did, the 2 different exercises, is because the bottom lower strings have a completely different feel to them when you're sweeping than the higher strings. The higher strings are much easier to push the pick through. That's why I like the division of the 2. So you notice that this exercise focuses on the lower strings, the second exercise focuses on your higher strings. I always have kind of done a divide and conquer strategy with playing. So basically when I'm doing this, I start with a down, so my pick is, angled up like this, so I'm, less resistance against the strings, bam. Now when I go to the 13, that's when my hand shifts. Watch my hand. You can see it go like this. Okay? That's where my pick angle is actually changing. So 9 to 13, 11 on the D, 12. So now, I did this to focus specifically on upstrokes. You could cycle it if you wanted to, but I like this idea of needing to jump our hand back down. Okay? Arpeggio number 2. Now, this is something I got from Richie Kotzen. He'll move the shape up a string. Now, this is basically going for an E major 7. Exact same shape. Everything's just up a string. 9 on the D, 11 on the D. I'm sorry, why do I keep saying 11? 9 on the D to 13 on the D. Jeez, Louise. 11 on the A, 12 on the low E. Richie Kotzen will kind of do like that little slide in there. We don't need to slide. That's just going to your root. So, okay, so just with those two, it's a great exercise by itself. And like I said, if you have the opposite issue, maybe down picking is your issue, then flip the exercise around. So it works both ways. Now, we're going to shift down here, and essentially what I'm going to next is what I'm seeing as an F sharp minor. So this would be your F sharp minor. I'm just adding an extra fifth in the bass. So I'm going to go to 7 on the D, 11 on the D, finally 11 on the D. I keep saying it wrong each time. And then 9 on the B, and then I roll my finger to get 9 on the low E string. I chose this because rolling always gave me a lot of trouble too, so I'm really focusing on two different aspects of my playing that I've struggled with for a very long time. The up pick and then rolling my finger. So we have both those happening here now. Okay? So there's that one. Now all I do is I shift down, but I'm not doing this exact same shape. I'm essentially doing an E major with the same concept of having the fifth in the bass. So I'm going to go 6 on the A, 9 on the D, 7 on the A, rolling up to get 7 on the low. So that's outlining the E major. And you notice rolling your finger gives you a different feel when you're kind of changing these strings and stuff like that. So all of this really comes into play. So and in all seriousness, we're really focusing on a lot of, I think, the most difficult parts of sweeping. Okay, so we have these four. So A major 7, E major 7, F sharp minor, and then E major. Now from here, I just moved down a string, and this is essentially outlining an A major chord again with a fifth in the bass. I'm adding that fifth a lot because it keeps the chord, you know, relative and all that stuff, but also it keeps the note sequence the same for everything. So I'm going to go 6 on the G to 7 on the G. Nope, that's wrong. 6 on the G to 9 on the G. I'm all over the place today, guys. 7 on the D and 7 on the A. Okay, so that is outlining that A major. Now, here is, actually maybe someone can tell me this. I can't remember what this does to the chord exactly. I just simply changed the fifth up here to a flat 5. Just because my ear told me to do that. There's no real reason behind it. So all I'm doing is changing one note from that previous sequence. I'm going to go 6 to 8, 7, 7. So you still have your A major, but I'm just adding that flat 5 on top. Okay, now from there, I transition back into another E major 7, but again, a different position now. So I'm going to go 4 all the way up to 8, 6 on the D, and 7 on the A. Notice my right hand technique has not changed during any of this. I've simply just been honing on those lower strings. Okay? Now, I shift down to this D sharp minor 7 chord. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to go 2 all the way up to 6, kind of a big stretch. Then I go to 4 on the D, and then 6 on the A. Now from here, I shift up and I start my diminished ascent. And I'm going to go, what is this, 6 on the G to 9 on the G, 8 on the B, 7. Now all I do is I move this shape up 3 frets at a time, good old diminished trick. Move up 3 frets, boom, 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 boom. So 9, 12, 11, 10. Move up 3 more frets, boom, 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 boom. That's apparently the moving up frets sound effect. 12, 15, 14, 13. I do it one more time. Boop, 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 boop. 15, 18, 17, 16. Start over again. So then you have... Oh, getting confused. Then you shift down, down again, down a string, goes there's that flat 5, major 7, minor 7, diminished. So there's that whole thing right there for you. And let me play it all for you real nice and slow one time so you can try to play along. So we go like this. Well, that only took a short lifetime to get through all those. So the next one is this idea, which I said, they are essentially chords, but that was not how I was viewing it. It came out of needing to work on, if you saw the intro of the video, I went like this, which is an intro for a song that I have coming out. And essentially, I couldn't get that part down, so I came up with an exercise to work on that, which was this. Use whatever fingers you want. And then shift it out. I just kind of let my ear tell me where to go. So the first one here, like I said, I'm doing it just out of the scale, E major. So I'm going to go. Same technique though, but on the higher string. So 9 to 11 on the high E string. So down, up, and notice my pick shift. 12 on the B, and then 11 on the G. I notice on the higher strings, it takes a much softer touch. Like the lower strings, you can kind of like push your way through the strings. Higher strings, you have to have a much more controlled right hand because you can't go blasting through those strings and you're gonna like push them out of tune. Oh, maybe. Okay. Then I think I did each one 4 times in the intro, but maybe not. I can't remember. I shift down now, still staying in the key. I'm gonna go 7 to 9, and then 10 on the B and 9 on the G. Now I shift up here. Again, I don't know what these chords are. 11 to 12 on the high E string, 14 on the B, and then 13 on the G. Same technique to the whole thing. And then up here, it's the same shape as before. We're just gonna go 14 to 16 on the high string, 17, and then 16 on the G. Notice I stopped using my pinky here because once I get to these higher frets, it's too hard. My fingers just don't fit in the fret. So it makes it a little bit easier for me to have my fingers spaced out. But we have this. You can, of course, keep going with it. All over the place. It's a really good, really good pattern that you can move all over the place. You can do diminished. Well, maybe you can do diminished. I apparently can't. You could, though. And that is it, guys. Like I said, tabs are down below, but hopefully you enjoy that. Like, this was just something I posted on Instagram, and you guys were like, hey, would you please do a tutorial about that? And I was like, why not? So there you have it. The hardest part of sweep picking getting a lot easier on you. At least I hope so. Later, homies. Keep on rocking. I will see you later. Woo!